to be the man, you gotta beat the man right here.
Is the future of wrestling. You can call this the new world order of wrestling, brother.
Nobody is on my level. Everything I touch turns to gold.
Believe it or not, whether you like it or don't like it, learn to love it, because you have to listen to Wrestling is Real. It is the best thing going today. Woo!
I don't deny it that tonight's title for this program is very ruthless, a bit cruel. And some people might actually get offended by me saying this. But I'm not holding back anymore on this. I've given the Triple H regime enough time to see if they can get things turned to a direction where we go into WrestleMania season and we're feeling better about what we have as our opportunities to make WrestleMania season good. Well, besides the fact we have a mid-card now that's much more respectable, good enough that, the audience, about 1.7 million viewers on a good week, will watch Raw, and more or less over 2 million viewers will watch SmackDown. But we're getting nothing on these shows that are really main event of anything. Having quality matches, but without quality storylines, it's what's hurting the product. I can go across and look at various storylines they've been doing for themselves, and I just don't feel like what we've been getting off of Raw and SmackDown has really been a standout. Makes me extra happy to see what happens. Now, Raw next week is a best of, and then we come back and we start the Royal Rumble, and basically WrestleMania season begins. And the week after that, the 30th anniversary of Raw, which I don't think they made any official plans for, but the 30th anniversary of Raw starts, it was January 11th. So yeah, it's coming up. Now, so far, what they've been doing with the product, you get a little bit of that feel for Raw this past week, where let's do an amalgamation of matches based on a couple of stars out there, or factions that are out there. Street Profits and Judgment Day. And then Rhea Ripley gets her featured match against Akira Tozawa. Kind of just leading on from other matches before. And just leading on the sixth man, where Tozawa accompanies Street Profits for a couple of weeks. So Street Profits gets the win over Finn Balor and Damian Priest. Another week where Dominic Mysterio stays in the background with Rhea Ripley. OC and Alpha Academy. And now we know that Alexa Bliss, they're starting to go ahead and turn her back to being heel again, with most likely some kind of return back to the character she was with Bray Wyatt. Like the possession is still there, and that has not gone away. I don't know if I necessarily care for it or what, but they're going with this now because this is where they want to go next with Bianca Belair. To have her and Alexa Bliss in a featured feud until we figure out what they're going to do next. So they've exhausted things with Bayley, kind of, sort of. Becky Lynch is still in the mix. Asuka's still in the mix. I don't know what they're going to be doing. And then we get the winner-take-all ladder match for Miz and Dexter Lumis after... I can't even think about how many weeks we've had this, but... The Miz and Dexter Lumis was one of the most uninteresting storylines we've had all year. Now, sure, Bronson Reed coming out and accompanying Miz? Yeah, okay, that's nice. I wasn't necessarily ready to see Bronson Reed come back. I actually kind of preferred his Jonah character in Impact Wrestling, and seeing that he'll continue to work in New Japan. But Triple H definitely has something ahead for this guy. Just a feeling about it. I don't see it. Not in WWE, but in other organizations, I think, sure. I don't like the Bronson Reed name, and there's not much to the character I really make really of importance. And then I look at Sami Zayn and AJ Styles to kind of roll things around. Where Sami Zayn now has to work double duty because Bloodline has to continue to do something. And then they started really the storyline of the Bloodline kind of taking over on Raw. So Styles and the OC against the Bloodline. Then Rollins and Owens are attacked by the Bloodline. We got that going on. And this whole setup is, I don't know. The thing is that there are a number of stars that have been brought back. You think it just on Raw alone with Dexter Lumis and Johnny Gargano and Io Shirai, Dakota Kai, and Candice LeRae. I'm like, the NXT Black and Gold of 2019. You know, I'll never understand what it was that Triple H sees in the gold that he had in an NXT roster that could not beat AEW on a weekly basis. They had the 2 hours. They had the time slot. And they were going up head to head against Dynamite. And they did nothing. Triple H, I don't think, understands this lesson. Sure, you want to be in control of the pencil, and you feel like there were certain stars that should have been around and had the chance to be called onto that main roster and been given a better chance to succeed. But here's the problem. When Vince has gone along and he's done what he wanted to do with certain stars, and he buries them, or he drops them, and future endeavors, there's a stigma left on those stars now. Every one of them he brought back. Okay, we always say this too. It really is like this. When you think about, if you're going to go for a new car, you'll go for a new car. I mean, how many people really want to go after something used, something pre-owned, something borrowed? Especially people that were of interest in other organizations. Let me put it to you like this. See, before Johnny Gargano or Candice LeRae or Dexter Lumis or Karrion Kross or Tegan Knox or Shotzi or like what have you, think of all the stars you had that, if they're so amazing, then why didn't AEW pick them up? Why did they never go to Impact or MLW or NWA just to keep themselves on TV? The only one that did was Karrion Kross, because I saw him in MLW. But he didn't go anywhere else. He stayed indies. Did not get himself attached to another organization. Because after he was let go, he kept working. And he kept working, so that wasn't the issue. But no one, not even rumors, not even speculation, all these stars that this fan base, this WWE NXT Full Sail Black and Gold 2019 bubble crowd, they all wanted these stars here. And some of them they also wanted to keep because they moved along to other organizations where Adam Cole went away. The thing is that you have stars that might have gotten picked up in other places. But then, there's one thing where those stars I make mention of, Triple H didn't get them where they were in another organization and pulled them back in. The OC is one example, yeah. But really, think about it like this. The reason we used to get so excited in the Attitude Era and the Nitro Monday Night Wars era was when we saw certain stars that would move over. These were stars that were already in demand somewhere else. So to see Jericho move over, or to see, the Radicals, or all the ECW stars, Number of stars that could have been brought over after the fact with star power or with some real capital to their name and their brand and to who they are. We had all these NXT stars that some of them did get called up to that main roster and got a little bit of chance to go and work up there and shine. And they were either saddled with bad gimmicks or what have you. And you're saying to yourself, okay, what is Triple H going to do that's going to be any different? But what my point is that here's a recycle bin. When you're done with something, you don't go back to the recycle bin again and just reuse something. We're recycling talent. We're recycling talent from some of the stars they've brought back and who they have, deciding, well, let's just do something to kind of just get them back to a character that is much more pliable or meaningful, instead of evolutionizing the character to be something more. So with Nikki Cross, she might have been almost a superhero, so let's refer her back to her sanity character. For Asuka, she was like the Great Muta kind of feel. Sure, it might have been hokey and cartoony, but you know what? Now they take her back to a character she's already done before. Becky Lynch was going to this whole other sorts of her character where she was kind of weird and out of there and off. And now she's back to the man, back of like 2017, 2018. Is that working? Just to send people back to where they were? To kind of like restoring factions that you had before, kind of sort of to see what happens with them? When you have the Way being almost restored back with Dexter and Johnny and Candace all kind of working together, hodgepodge, right? Is any of that working? Kevin Owens and his complaints about Elias or Ezekiel, and at least do something kind of goofy on this character, and taking him back and putting him as prize fighter back in 2016, going up against John Cena at Elimination Chamber, right? We're just putting people back to a certain way. Is it working? Are we getting any particular characters that are stand out, that are different, that are changing? New Day, going back to NXT now, they feel like their younger selves a couple of years ago. Nothing special. I mean, brought to NXT. Because they're not going to be able to go ahead and beat the Usos anytime soon. These kind of things that I see here on the Raw side, there's nothing new. None of that stands out to me that really makes me feel like, wow, there's something really exciting here. Judgment Day. And then a lot of stars you have that are older that have just been around for a long time. Austin Theory, okay. It still doesn't make sense about how you moved him from being the chosen one of Vince McMahon, giving him a short losing streak. Losing is Money in the Bank briefcase. And then somehow coming back and still getting the U.S. title after all. And now he's this new character, which has nothing of his old character with the selfie stuff going on and the cocky attitude. I just don't get what the changes are for. So we're going to make the characters cool. We don't want characters that are cringy. We don't want characters that are kind of weird and off and goofy and funny and all that. No, we can't have any of that. They have to be too cool for school. All of them are made that way. Are we doing anything special with the storylines? No, because everybody's basically the same thing. Everybody's the middle. Everyone is the middle. We're just going to bring all these other stars back. We're going to make them all equal, and we're going to live in perfect harmony. You might not have liked Vince's method of madness. And by the way, I on purpose did not talk about Vince McMahon potentially returning back to the company. I briefly brought up the Wall Street Journal story, another story of what it was, right? But I'm going to put it to you like this. He's not coming back. And for everyone to continue to think he's going to be coming back on this whole, and for people to keep talking about it, stop it. I have made my bed with the fact that Vince McMahon will not be running this company anymore. And he is no longer an influence on here. Trust me, I feel like if he was, there would be a difference, but he's not. And for all of you to continue to think and be delusional that you think he's going to come back, get the fudge out of here. Come on. The nerve of you people to think this way. But there's nothing happening right now. Among a couple of stars that actually, they've done a few things. With SmackDown, you can see there's a couple of things that are being kept over there on that side to keep it intact, to do something with, which is good. By the way, I just read something that Randy Orton is going to be at back surgery, so he's going to be out for a long time. And also some other word about Sasha Banks no longer staying with the WWE, that she's basically going to be open up for whatever she wants to do beginning January 1. So she's out. She's not returning because I was asking for a big payday, and she can ask for it. She wasn't going to get it, but she decided to go the route. That's what they decided to do. Do I necessarily think that was good? I don't know. For Friday Night SmackDown this past week, you start with the women's tag team titles. Okay. LA Knight and Bray Wyatt. Okay. LA Knight is another example. I didn't put him in the graphic, but he should very much be in that graphic. But listen, I've been a fan of Eli Drake as much as anybody else. But what's happening right now with LA Knight? You decided to go with the Max Dupree character. And by the way, Maximum Male Models, is that even a thing anymore? The rest's gone, right? I was digging the Maximum Male Models thing. I actually thought there was something going on right there. It was different. So no. Let's put them back to LA Knight. We're going to go backwards with all these characters. We're just going to make them their best hits from the indies. Look, I don't need Eli Drake to do his pseudo rock impression like he did in NWA, like he did before in Impact Wrestling. It was different. For him to be given to do the same gimmick as he did back then doesn't give prudence. The WWE is a different bag. How many of these stars are really thinking to themselves, wow, I'm so good in the ring and I'm so good that Triple H really likes me and he's so happy to have me back, and that someday he's going to make me champion. What? Do any of you right now think, when you look at LA Knight, or you look at Karrion Kross, or Dexter Lumis, or Johnny Gargano, are any of you feeling that any of these guys have the intent, the goal, to become the Universal Undisputed World Heavyweight Champion? Do any of them think in their right mind they should be the one that should be picked to take on Roman Reigns and be taken through and all that good stuff? You know, actually be the one to win the belt. Do any of those people feel like that at all? No. I will give credit where credit's due. Gunther and Ricochet had a great match. And Gunther does look like a champion. What's actually interesting was that Vince was kind of feeling something about Gunther. That's absolutely true. It's right. Then we had Hit Row against Legado del Fantasma. I still can't get over with Top Dollar. And how weak Hit Row is as a faction without Swerve Strickland. It's like a bone with no meat on it. There's nothing there. That acquisition, that return never made sense to me at all. Same thing with Legado del Fantasma. Now, were these stars all brought back on long-term contracts once again? Were they sent to short-term contracts? Like, Triple H did not just like sign all these people back up to long-term deals again, just so they could sit in catering in a couple of months. Because how many people are going to be sitting in catering pretty soon once WrestleMania season comes around. Because we only got, what, one more show of SmackDown, and then we move along. No, we got two more shows of SmackDown. And then we move along over to WrestleMania season. And how many of these recycle bin stars are going to be put on the shelf, put in the catering, and they're going to be of no interest to anyone going into WrestleMania season? Because in the WrestleMania season, certain part-timers come back. And then what else? Cody will come in and take a slot. Brock will come in and take a slot. Ronda and Shayna, they got their thing going right now. They're going to be involved in something, I bet. Gargano and LeRae and Tegan Knox and Shotzi and all these others, and Liv Morgan. Are they going to get anything important at WrestleMania time? No. I don't believe it for a second. Let me get to my point before about Bray Wyatt. One of the few things that was being built up pretty well, the White Rabbit, just the anticipation of Bray Wyatt coming back was pretty interesting. I'll give it credit. It wasn't a bad idea. And they have failed to deliver on that White Rabbit and all they've been doing with him. Uncle Howdy. It meant nothing. Wyatt up against LA Knight. I'm not feeling anything of this Bray Wyatt character. What is it? Listen, Triple H can't do anything with him either? Is he really that far off? Decided to move this in a new direction, and Uncle Howdy, and I'm like, oh, whatever. I felt nothing. Nothing at all. And then in 2 weeks, John Cena is coming back, and he'll tag with Kevin Owens to go after the Usos. Or it's going to be a bloodline. Roman Reigns, Sami Zayn. And that's our kind of precursor going into WrestleMania season. Is John Cena coming back for a little more kind of something? Sure. And right off the bat, I can just think right now, Roman, if they put him against Rock, and then Roman takes on somebody else on a different night, there's two main events for WrestleMania. You go to Bianca Belair and Rhea Ripley, sure. Do we go with Cody and Seth, or Cody gets somewhere in the mix involved? Or John Cena with Logan Paul, right? Remember, you're going to have some part-timers coming back, and a number of slots will be filled. So Logan Paul is going to have a slot to himself. Cena will have a slot to himself. Ronda will have her slot. We think about 20 matches, right? On both nights. All the titles on the line. So Usos going to have their match. Your U.S. IC titles, sure. Women's tag team titles. And so you think about, okay, well, Ronda will have her match, like I said. She's champ. Bianca will have her match. She's champ. What are those other matches are going to fill up that are going to be real standout? Got some real star power. Is there anyone we're thinking about right now? Is there anyone you're thinking of right now? Anyone? No. Me neither. You got me too, man. And then we didn't talk more than enough about the stars that could have been around to do something now, but you know what? There's a lot of changes that are going on as well, where there's a lack of discipline and a lack of foresight and kind of towing the company line and actually caring about the company and being loyal to the company. That's the kind of thing that Vince used to make happen. People would do things for Vince. They were loyal to Vince. How many times have we heard that? Are we getting the same kind of effort from these that are loyal to Hunter? No. Not at all. Not at all. So we don't know what they're going to have next. But we can look and we can see what they're going to try to do. But there are certain stars that have kind of lost their way since Vince left. First off, let's bring up Mandy Rose like we did last week. All right. She's not coming back. She has representation. She has management. She now has an agent, Malika Kawa, who says that Mandy Rose now has earned $500,000 from her fan time page since WWE released her on December 14th. A week. $500,000 in a week. Now, with that kind of adult content, don't kind of stay like that forever. Let's just be honest. Any woman or any content creator doing OnlyFans, you're only going to keep some kind of appeal for so long. Maybe 2 or 3 years. Because it's like porn stars. Porn stars only have a certain shelf life as to how long they're around until they start doing things ridiculously to keep people interested in watching them or looking at their content and buying it. Since she left, her fan time subscription has now gone from $25 to $40. And that's it. She's out. Doesn't matter anymore. And there's probably more that Malika Kawa probably can do for her as her agent. She represents actually a number of sports talent. Some of her athletes have been some UFC stars with Jim Jones and Anthony Pettis, BJ Penn, Jorge Masvidal. A lot of MMA fighters and NFL football. So he's doing what he needs to get from her and for her, and that's it. It doesn't matter. So Mandy Rose is a non-factor. The fact that she was champion for 413 days, NXT, kicking ass, and Triple H didn't have the kind of pull to kind of give her the loyalty. Hey, what about the brass ring? We're going to get you up in that main roster with Toxic Attraction. Oh, it doesn't matter. So all that time you spent in Tough Enough, what is it, 7-8 years that you spent, all the developmental that you did, and you're willing to throw it all away for some adult content? Yeah. Talk about people that are kind of losing their eye on what things were. Vince used to have loyalty with certain stars. And then it's not the same now. And what kind of message does this give to the locker room? That Mandy Rose could just easily just say, oh, fuck it. Sasha Banks, oh, fuck it. They just don't care. And look at the kind of stuff that's going on now with, say, Matt Riddle. We talked about him and the supposed idea that he might be in rehab. And then there's smear pieces going on out there. And because the company's not on top of what's going on here, and things just getting put out there, then some stories come out, and WWE is not getting on top of this and getting in front of it. No. So where's the PR? Where is the PR for WWE to kind of get some spin control on here? A little bit of damage control. Let's go ahead and try to keep Matt Riddle, let's run cover for him. But of course not. So Cassidy Haynes on bodyslim.net, we talked about how it was said he went to rehab. An adult film star went on the Twitter this week and posted about Matt Riddle, saying that they've been in a relationship and she learned he was seeing another film star by the name of Misha Montana. And they quote tweeted someone who was including screenshots from a Ringside News article that shows Riddle and Montana kissing each other. And no one's disputing Ringside News. No one's talking back about it. Max stated that she was, quote, keeping plans for Christmas and New Year's Eve, and that Riddle went to rehab. Still no statement from Riddle or WWE on his status, but he has been off TV to explain his absence. And Matt Riddle would eventually make comments this evening. So he retweeted the following on Twitter. I've been working a lot on myself lately and have been saying no and setting boundaries for the first time ever, and certain people aren't happy about it. But I couldn't be healthier or happier. Thank you for all the support. We've heard nothing about the fact that he is in rehab or what truth there is of anything right now. And then another woman named by the name of Ivy Malibu wrote the following about Matt Riddle. What can I say? If you've seen anything or know anything about it's all been true, a certain person has been just chosen to make decisions that have hurt me and countless other people, and I don't want to be sitting in my car crying over this, and I don't want it to be attention grabbing, but sometimes people are they're not good people, and that's okay. I wish this person nothing but the best, but I wish them nothing but healing and happiness in their heart, because apparently me and other people couldn't provide that for them, so they had to take away our happiness. There's more to it, but I'm going to just leave it there. I don't know what else to think here, but there's a lot going on. Not a lot of good answers here, but Matt Riddle, the comments are being made and nobody's saying much about it. I don't know what to think. Let's do a more run through real quick of the rest of the year in wrestling. We're going to go into April. WrestleMania 35. They went through and did it. For the most part, we went through WrestleManias both nights. And among what happened, we talked about how Cody Rhodes came back. Stone Cold was a standout going up against Kevin Owens in just a brawl. You had the Drew McIntyre Happy Corbin feud at that time, remember? Miz and Logan Paul against the Mysterios. Bianca Belair solidifying her spot as Raw Women's Champion, being a top main event level player on the women's side. And then we get Roman getting both belts. Sami Zayn and Johnny Knoxville. Sasha and Naomi against Carmella Queen, Zelina, Rhea and Liv, Natalya and Shayna in a 4-way for the tag team titles on the women's side. Edge and AJ Styles with a pretty good match. And Damian Priest aligning with Edge to start the Judgment Day. And then we had Pat McAfee and Austin Theory, then Mr. McMahon out there, and Roman and Brock to wrap things up. But like I said, WrestleMania, they got away with what they could to move forward. We had Impact Wrestling Rebellion in April, and Taya Valkyrie, Ace Austin, Josh Alexander all became repeat champions. We talked about the 5 indisputable facts that wrestling fans can agree to disagree. We talked about that last week. And I talked about how Roman Reigns would eventually be going to Hollywood. The whole deal will be restructured soon enough. Sasha and Naomi walking out. We got that in May. And now we're kind of getting closure on all that, too. CM Punk finally winning his title at a Double or Nothing. Getting that chance to be there. A lot of stars in June getting thrown on injured reserve. It's that normal thing where just some stars will just crash and burn after all the work they've been doing, and they'll only be so resilient, and that's it. I talked about a really great Slammiversary, 20th anniversary for them. AW Forbidden Door we had in June. And I remember with the offseason this past year, that summertime was really good. Forbidden Door, Money in the Bank, Grand Slam, and SummerSlam. It was quite good. When the onus was on Liv Morgan and Theory at the end of going into SummerSlam to see if those were like 2 stars of the future that were going to really do something. And then the thought process was that in July, summertime Vince was on the way out. And then he does on July 23rd. What a ridiculous thing to see. that Vince goes away, and people were cheering about it. And there are still people right now that are in denial that will continue to just go ahead and support what's going on right now with the company in the current direction. WrestleMania is going to be a telling story this year, coming up. I don't know how well it's going to do. And my deal was, are we going to just stick to black and gold 2019 NXT? We're just going to bring all these stars back and just do the same thing? I was hoping it wasn't going to be that way. I was hoping it wouldn't, but hey. August 1st, we had Ric Flair's last match. That whole pay-per-view, I really enjoyed it. One of my favorite pay-per-views of the year. And in August, I kept talking about the same thing. That WWE was making the mid-card matter, but the missing focus was the main event. It still is now. And then August 24th, I asked, you see Johnny Gargano, Karrion Kross, Austin Theory, Dexter Lumis, and Gunther all brought back to that main roster in August. Clash at the Castle was pretty well done. I'll give it that. MJF being away for a while, and eventually making where CM Punk would lose that belt. And then we had the whole thing with AEW and their whole fallout with CM Punk and the Elite. Monday Night Football has definitely hurt into the main event needs that WWE needs to have. You know, they're going to get your ratings back a little bit. That's good for them. Just in time for the new broadcast deals to be doled out. And there was more that I brought up through the rest of the fall, but like I said, my constant thing kept going on to talk about the fact that that main roster, that main event portion, everybody's in the middle now. It's mediocrity. Or see, what Triple H has done right now, I'm going to tell you like this. They talk about with the NFL teams and the way the salary cap system's set. Parity. There's a lot of teams, if you look right now on the current setup, a lot of teams are sub 500 or a little over 500 or at 500. That means as many wins as they have losses. There are a lot of teams that are the same. But how many teams do we have out there that are stand out? Philadelphia Eagles are what, 13-1? Like, how many teams do we have that are dominating? That put them up against another team and they'll destroy and just wipe the field with them? What main event stars do you have right now up in that main roster right now? If you put them into a main event match, you could book them right now, night 1 or night 2 of WrestleMania. And it doesn't matter who they're going up against. Like Roman Reigns, doesn't matter who it is. You can get anybody. If you book it well enough, Roman Reigns is already strong enough as a champion to be the marquee at WrestleMania. Ronda Rousey earned that spot. And for people to kind of feel like she's kind of below that, no, I don't believe it. The bloodline right now is everything. Why do you think they put the bloodline out there this week in the first place, attacking other stars? Because if it helps to kind of build those other stars up, you got to do something with them. What else do you do? It's not a real plan behind them either. Not at all. These are constant problems, and there is no answer for this yet. So what are you going to do? I don't see an answer anytime soon. I see nothing in the horizon that makes me feel confident that we're going to see something happen that's going to help out this roster. I don't see it. It sucks, but that's where they are now. Not a lot of good answers. And so we'll see what they actually do up in January and evaluate. When they eventually start making the turn and say, okay, we need to start prioritizing which stars are going to be in the WrestleMania season. And which of these stars that we have out here that we brought back, they're going to get a back seat. And they're not going to get anything to work on at all. No WrestleMania payday for them. These that are being said are underwhelming. These that are in Vince's recycle bin of rejects. You might not like that phrase, but it's true. They are off the recycle bin. There was nobody else that was out there reaching out to grab them. Only Triple H. His loyalty is commendable to a fault. But there's something to be said about why Vince McMahon decided to go in and give up on a Karrion Kross or a Bronson Reed or... I mean, there's a reason why. Why some stars were never worth making the call up to the main roster. Nope. There's not a lot of good answers here. Oh well. We got to figure out what's going to happen next. I'm going to leave it there. We'll keep it short. That's the show tonight. And we'll probably do a short show next week because I pretty much covered what I wanted to talk about with Year of Wrestling. Let's see if there's anything else that comes up. But it might be a pretty small show till next week. Not much else to say. And I just don't want to feel like I need to be more negative and start commenting and making comments here and just because I'm upset. I'm not necessarily upset or angry. I'm just disappointed. But I don't know what Triple H is going to do here. I hope he has certain stars that he brought in. He kept them the short contracts and said, okay, you're out. Short deals. He would have been smart to do that. But I don't think that was the case. And so everybody's going to complain about all these part-timers coming back. Well, did your savior Triple H, did he do anything to help build any of these stars to be at main event level? To be worthy. And so exciting. We're so excited about them that we're going to see something with them in WrestleMania. No. Well, you'll tell me. We'll figure it all out. So come on back next week for another Wrestling is Real podcast, because wrestling needs us.
Thank you for listening to the Wrestling is Real podcast. Find past episodes anytime at wrestlingisreal.com or subscribe on Apple, Amazon, Spotify, or all major podcast distributors. Follow at King of Podcasts on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. This has been a presentation of the King of Podcasts Radio Network.